Hi, how are you? You have your ID? Cell phone? No, I don't want to give it to you. Why do I have to give it?
Because my attorney said not to.
Why do I have to give it to you? This is evidence. Look at this. Ma'am, this is your favorite? She's under arrest. I have to go with you. I have to go. I have to go. You don't have that choice. I can help you out. No, I have to stay. Please don't do this. You need to grab the bags. Take the bags. Yeah. And you need to wait outside. Okay.
My husband's almost 80 years old. He can't come with me?
Please, can I help?
No, you can't join me there.
Oh, don't do this, please.
Please.
Oh,
Someone's got to help him get home. This is terrible. You can't do this. This is insane.
Is that okay with you?
Please. Please grab the handcuffs. She's not going anywhere. Please. Please. Do you have anything in your pocket?
No, no.
Do you have anything of value in you?
No, I
Plus you have a necklace on. You can take it off. I'll take it.
Yeah, take it off. Yeah.
And the earrings.
And the earrings, the rings, take everything. You give it to your husband. Because once you arrive at County Jail, they're going to make you remove all that.
can I call my attorney?
You have a passport already?
Where am I going?
Which open your finger?
Where am I going?
You're going to the Dade County Jail.
Dade County Jail. No, this is right here. The one on.
They're coming in minutes. No problem. You can have. No problem.
I'm sorry, remove the hearings? How it happened?
Yeah. I'll call.
Get an Uber, go home.
I will.
Take
I
it
will.
easy.
I will.
All right?
Yes.
Here.
If there's anything else in her person that she wants to.
Oh, well, it's coming, sweetheart. It's coming. Just a second.
Do you have her driver's license by any chance?
I'm sorry?
Her driver's
It's in my
Yeah.
it's in my purse.
Yeah.
How it is?
Yeah, then you could give it.
Sir, do you need her passport? Or can I give it to the husband? The passport can I give it to
What though?
Where is it?
It's in the blue and white. It's in the blue and white.
Yeah, but I'm going to get her driver's license for it. Yeah.
And the license, the address on your license is correct?
Yes.
She needs all her. She needs all her. When she goes to the jail, they work
They're all in here though.
Yes, they work. If I take them here, what will happen is when you go there, they toss them out. So when you go to there, you will meet the nurse and the doctor, and then they'll work in conjunction with the hospital to get you whatever you need.
Yeah, but I don't have a list with me. I know what I have a.
Is it multiple or is just one or two?
There's a bag of medication in here. Is that what you're asking me?
She can take medication. No, I know. I was just trying to find out if it was like one or two. Yeah, if it was one or two, then she maybe could take the name down.
Do you need anything else from her?
Can I ask you something? Can someone just get my husband outside? And so
I'll get him. There's a gentleman here with a system and anyway, I'll be okay.
I have the ring. Hold on.
Let me have the ring, please. Yeah, no, I'll okay.
That's crazy.
I love you.
Okay, thanks.
All right.
Yeah, because they got rid of the
Thanks again. Appreciate it again.
What if I told you that a grandmother, a woman who signed paychecks and kept family schedules, orchestrated one of the most calculated contract killings in recent memory? What if the hand that wrote checks to hired killers was the same hand that planned family dinners? This is the story of Donna Adelson, a woman whose need for control turned deadly and whose web of manipulation reached far beyond what anyone could have imagined. Before we dive into this chilling tale, if you're drawn to stories that uncover the darkest corners of human nature, stories where family bonds become weapons and love transforms into something unrecognizable, then you're in the right place. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications for Dark Trail Files, because we go where others won't. We ask the questions others don't, and we never stop until the truth comes to light. Now let's begin. July 18th, 2014. Tallahassee, Florida. Dan Markel, a respected Florida State University law professor, pulled into his garage after a morning at the gym. He was 41 years old, a Harvard-educated legal scholar known for his work on criminal justice and punishment theory. He was also a father to two young boys, ages 3 and 4, who were the center of his world. As Markel's car came to a stop in his Benton Hills driveway, two men approached. Sigfrido Garcia raised a weapon and fired a single shot through the driver's side window. The bullet struck Markel in the head. He was rushed to the hospital, but died from his injuries the next day. The execution was swift, professional, and devastating. What investigators didn't know in those first hours was that this wasn't a random act of violence. This was a carefully orchestrated hit, funded with over $100,000, and at its center was someone who should have been grieving, someone who called herself family. This was about custody, control, and a mother who would stop at nothing to get what she wanted. To understand how a grandmother became a killer, you have to understand what drove her. Dan Markel and Wendy Adelson married in 2006, but their relationship deteriorated quickly. By 2012, they were headed for divorce, and what followed was one of the most bitter custody battles Florida courts had seen. The divorce was finalized in 2013 with shared custody of their two sons. But Wendy wanted more. She wanted to move the children 370 miles south to Miami to be closer to her parents, Donna and Harvey Adelson, and her brother Charlie. For Wendy, Tallahassee felt like exile. For Donna, having her daughter and grandson so far away was unacceptable. Dan refused to relocate. His career was in Tallahassee. His life was there. And more importantly, he wanted to remain an active father to his boys. When Wendy filed a motion to relocate with the children, a judge denied it. Dan Markel had won. The children would stay in Tallahassee. For Donna Adelson, this was not just a legal setback. This was personal. Emails between Donna and Wendy reveal a mother consumed by her daughter's unhappiness. Donna pushed Wendy to offer Dan $1 million to let the children go. She promised she would split the cost with Wendy and Charlie. When that didn't work, Donna suggested taunting Dan with the possibility of converting the boys from Judaism to Catholicism. But Dan would not budge. He filed a motion in 2014 seeking to prevent Donna from having unsupervised visits with his children, claiming she made disparaging remarks about him in front of the boys. For a woman who prided herself on control, who micromanaged every aspect of her children's lives, this was the ultimate humiliation. Now here's where the family dynamics become crucial. Donna's oldest son, Robert Adelson, would later take the stand and describe his mother's need for control in chilling detail. Robert testified that Donna had certain fixed ideas for what she wanted for her children. If you went along, things were fine. If you didn't, things are not fine. And now, Dan Markel was standing in the way of what Donna wanted most. Her family reunited in South Florida. So Donna turned to the one person she always relied on to solve problems. Her middle child, her son, Charlie. Robert's testimony reveals the family dynamics and Donna's controlling nature, providing crucial insight into how she operated behind the scenes.
Thank you. Could you tell us your name and spell your name for our court reporter, please?
Sure. Robert Todd Adelson, Adelson.
Thank you. And what state do you currently live in?
New York.
And how long have you lived in New York?
13 years.
Okay, so since maybe 2012?
Yes.
All right. What do you do for a living in New York?
I'm an ENT.
Okay, so ear, nose, and throat doctor?
Yes.
And how long have you worked as an ENT?
For 20 years.
How do you know the defendant in this case, Donna Adelson?
She's my mother.
And Harvey Adelson's your dad?
Yes.
Wendy and Charlie Adelson are your siblings?
Yes.
Okay. And where did you grow up?
In Coral Springs, Florida.
Is that a bit north of Miami?
Yep.
About how long of a drive?
About an hour north of Miami.
Okay. When y'all were growing up, did you all, the five of you, live in the same house as a family?
Yes.
And who's the oldest child?
I am.
Okay. Who's the middle child?
Charlie.
How many years between you and Charlie?
3 years between Charlie and I.
And then who's the youngest then is Wendy?
Yes.
And how many years between Charlie and Wendy?
3 years.
Okay. When you were 18, did you move out of the Coral Springs house?
Yes, when I went to college.
Okay. And did you go to college at University of Florida?
I went to Tulane.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Did you live in Gainesville at some point?
I did, yes.
Okay, thank you. So after you went to college at Tulane and then went on to med school, went on to residency, throughout those years, did you continue to talk to your parents and your siblings on a regular basis?
Yes.
And would you see them a couple of times a year?
Yes.
When you were in school, would you go home for the summer?
Yes.
Based on your personal observations throughout your life of your parents and of your siblings, who is the leader in the family? Who tends to run the show?
I think my mom.
Okay, so Donna Adelson?
Yes.
Would you describe Donna Adelson's personality as being more controlling or more laid back?
I think more on the controlling side.
What about, is she kind of a more assertive person or a more passive person?
A more assertive.
What about your dad, Harvey Adelson? What's his personality like?
I think he's more passive, more go with the flow.
Okay. So they're kind of opposites in that way a bit?
Yeah.
When you and your siblings were growing up, was Donna Adelson a very involved parent?
Yes.
And when I say involved, as far as with your life and with your friends and with school and with that type of thing?
Absolutely.
Did she have certain fixed ideas throughout your life of certain things she wanted to happen in you and your siblings' life?
Yes, absolutely.
Was it acceptable if you decided to not do those certain things that she was fixated she wanted you to do? Was that acceptable to her or no?
No. I think she had certain sort of rigid, fixed ideas or impressions for what she wanted for us, and if you went along with that, things were fine. If you didn't, things were not fine.
Did she have strong opinions about who you all married and what you all did for a living and those types of things?
Yes.
And you're obviously a doctor. Was that an acceptable profession to her?
Yeah, that was okay.
Okay. And was that one of the reasons you became a doctor?
Yes.
Okay. How involved was Donna in yours, Charlie, and Wendy Adelson's life after you grew up, became adults, and had kids of your own?
I think still involved.
Was she more involved with your life, Charlie's life, or Wendy's life, would you say?
Probably more involved with Wendy and probably to a lesser degree with Charlie.
Okay. And then would you be she's the least involved with your life out of the three?
Yeah, probably because I was older, but sure, I agree.
Okay, so you're the oldest child. You're out of the house before the other two?
Yep.
Okay, and then you also lived other places after you went to college throughout the rest of your life?
Yes.
Now, was this like a healthy level of involvement that she had with the three of yours lives, or was it more of like a micromanaging as you saw it?
I think it was certainly between over-involved and controlling. It probably lended itself more toward controlling, but there's in various realms, more or less. But I think certainly that was the tension.
Okay, so a little more on the controlling side.
Yes.
And does that include your personal lives as far as your relationships and in your professions, your jobs?
Yes.
Was it Charlie who always needed more attention than the other two children?
I think so, yes.
When did Wendy's life start becoming one that she needed to pay or give more attention to?
I think when she had some troubles in her marriage, I wasn't aware there were any troubles in her marriage until Wendy left. But I think around that time when she had two young children, I think that was when she became more involved. And I was, at that point living, a pretty good distance away.
Okay. Were you living in Philadelphia at the time?
Yeah, but first in Philly and then in New York, where we live now.
Okay. And so Charlie always got a lot of attention, and then Donna also started giving her attention also to Wendy's life once Wendy starts going through the separation or divorce.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. From your interactions with Donna Adelson through your whole life growing up and even as an adult, would you describe her as someone who's mentally sharp, thinking about things from all angles, or is she someone who's a little more gullible? Yes, sir.
Objection is sustained. You may continue with your examination.
Were Charlie and Donna Adelson dependent on each other or pretty independent from each other?
I would say Charlie was probably somewhat dependent on my mom to help him out with organizing stuff, his dental practice. I think he probably relied on her a lot.
Okay. And you mentioned the dental practice. When you were growing up, who owned the dental practice?
My dad.
Okay. And throughout your life, was Donna Adelson in charge of the money at Adelson Institute?
I wouldn't know the inside workings of it, but I always remember my mom signing the checks and writing the checkbook at the table, when I was back in middle school or high school. So.
Okay. So even back then, she would do some bookkeeping or payroll type things at home.
That's my memory of it.
Okay. And then, did the dental practice, you said it obviously started out at Harvey's. Do you remember a time when Charlie Adelson took over?
I remember my dad making a joke about him having a very understanding boss because Charlie was now his boss. So.
Do not testify to what others have stated out of court. You may testify as to your knowledge, but not what someone else specifically said. The objection is sustained. You may continue.
I understand you were telling us how you remember that, but can you just tell us around what year do you remember that happening?
Around 2012, Charlie purchased the practice.
Okay, and then was there a time that you remember Charlie somehow selling it back to Harvey Adelson as then becoming the head of the practice again?
I will permit you to answer the question if you have knowledge of this matter.
My memory of that was sometime in fall to winter of 2015 to 16, somewhere right around there. That's my memory.
Charlie Adelson was a successful periodontist who drove a Ferrari and lived the South Florida lifestyle. He and Donna worked together at the family's dental practice, the Adelson Institute for Aesthetics and Implant Dentistry, where Donna served as the bookkeeper. This wasn't just a business relationship. This was a partnership built on years of Donna managing Charlie's life and Charlie solving Donna's problems. Prosecutors would later argue that Donna tasked Charlie with handling the logistics of the murder plot. She didn't need to get her hands dirty. She just needed to provide the money and let Charlie do what he did best: make problems disappear. Charlie was dating Catherine Magbanua at the time, a woman who would become the critical link between the Adelson family and the killers. Magbanua had children with Sigfrido Garcia, a man with connections to the Latin Kings gang. Garcia's close friend, Luis Rivera, would join him in carrying out the hit. Neither Garcia nor Rivera knew Dan Markel. They had no personal grudge. This was business, and the Adelson family was paying. The plot was set in motion. Garcia and Rivera drove from South Florida to Tallahassee multiple times, stalking Markel, learning his routines, waiting for the perfect moment. On July 18, 2014, they found it. Markel was gunned down in his own driveway, and the killers fled back to Miami. But here's what makes Donna's role so chilling. She didn't pull the trigger. She didn't even make the phone calls to the hitmen. What she did was far more insidious. She orchestrated from the shadows, using her son as her proxy, using her checkbook as her weapon, and maintaining a facade of the grieving mother-in-law. This video captures the immediate aftermath of the murder and shows the family's initial reactions under scrutiny.
Okay, here goes. This is the worst day of my life. Maybe I should text them if I can't reach them. Hi, Mom. How's it going? Mom, I need you to sit down. I am fine. The boys are fine. I need you to sit down. I'm fine, and the boys are fine. Danny has been. You can put me on speaker. Yeah. Danny has been shot. And I don't think he's gonna make it. And so I know. So I found this out around 1 or 2 today, and I'm at the police station, and I'm trying to help them figure out who may have done this. The boys are fine. I had Lynn and Alan pick them up from school, and they're with Lynn and Alan right now. And I'm gonna leave here soon and go be with them. But I really need you to come here and be with me. But I want you to either fly, obviously you can't leave right now, but I need you to get yourself together. If it's too much to drive, I'd really rather that you flew up. I'm at the police station, and I'm gonna leave soon and be with the boys before they go to bed. They're with Alan and Lynn, and they're totally fine. Yeah, the boys are fine, but they don't know anything yet. In his house, I know. I know. So I just need you to calm down before you get in the car, okay? Okay, so, and it's evening, so if you want to come here tomorrow, I have a lot of people that'll, be here with me, and, we'll have a lot of support. So I want you to take your time and just be safe in getting here, but I'd like you to come when you can, okay? Okay, all right. I love you. I think Jane might, I have the car here, but Jane might take me. I'm not gonna be alone, so I have a lot of support, and I'll be fine. Yeah, if you could just come here, that would be great. He's in the ICU in the hospital. Okay, but be careful, okay? Okay. Okay. Okay, love you too. Bye. Mom? Oh.
You did awesome with that call.
Thanks.
You were so stressed out about it, and you handled it.
If he goes to the house.
Sorry, my mom might be calling back if she heard me. Mom? You did, yeah. I just wanted to ask if you could just tell Charlie for me. I just don't want to be making calls right now, so if you could just tell Charlie for me, that would be great. okay? And just, like, it's on the news a little bit that there was a shooting on Trescott, and so I'm starting to get a lot of calls, and I'm not gonna be answering them unless they're from you, so I would really try not to tell anybody what's going on just yet, just because, like, he's in the hospital, and Charlie, I talked to Charlie earlier today, obviously before any of this happened. Like, I talked to him at like 10 this morning, and he said that he was coming to visit you guys this weekend, and he had plans, and he sounded good. I just can't, Mom. So can you just tell him? Yeah, just tell him for me, and then I'm sure I'll talk to him soon. But I don't want to be on the phone unless I have to right now. Okay? Okay. All right. Love you too. Bye. My mom handled that pretty well. Could you hear her?
Yeah. I think, you know, because you're a mama, but moms always go in that natural instinct to kind of protect and help and...
Yeah. I'm waiting to hear from you whenever you can. That's Jean. When she said she's here if I need company or a ride, do you think she meant here, like, metaphysically? Or here, like, in the lobby?
No, I think I would hope metaphysically. And again, remind me, Jane's the neighbor down the street that oh no, Jane.
Whoa. What kind of a rude way to say it.
Hours after Dan Markel died, police brought Wendy Adelson to the station. The moment captured on camera would reveal the family's first instinct in crisis. Who does Wendy call? Her mother. Hours after Dan Markel died, investigators began following the money. What they found was stunning. About 3 months after the murder, Catherine Magbanua started receiving paychecks from the Adelson family dental practice. These weren't small amounts. Over the course of a year and a half, she received 44 checks, all signed by Donna Adelson. Here's the critical detail. Catherine Magbanua never actually worked at the dental practice. She never showed up for a single shift. She never performed any dental work. These paychecks were payment for murder, disguised as legitimate employment. Magbanua testified that Charlie would hand-deliver these checks to her, usually several at a time. And every single one bore Donna's signature. Think about what that means. Donna wasn't passively allowing these payments. She was actively signing them. She knew exactly what she was doing. She was laundering murder money through her own business, using her position as bookkeeper to hide a contract killing. During Charlie's trial, he claimed he was being extorted. He said Magbanua told him that if he didn't pay, he would be dead too. He testified that he only had enough to pay $138,000, and that Magbanua agreed to let him pay the rest in monthly installments of $3,000. It was a desperate defense, and the jury didn't buy it. Neither did Donna's own defense attorney, who would later argue that Donna believed the extortion story was real, that she was just a loving mother protecting her son. But the evidence tells a different story. These payments started almost immediately after Markel's death. They continued for over a year, and they stopped in April 2016, right around the time the FBI closed in. In April 2016, nearly 2 years after Dan Markel's murder, the FBI decided to shake things up. They conducted what's known as a bump operation. An undercover agent, posing as a member of the Latin Kings gang, approached Donna Adelson on the street outside her Miami condominium. Picture this. Donna is walking her normal route to pick up her grandchildren from school. A stranger approaches. He hands her a folded newspaper article about Dan Markel's murder. On it, a phone number is written, and an amount, $5,000. The agent's message was clear. Your family has been taking care of Katie and her friend, but my brother hasn't been taken care of. You need to fix this. Donna's response? I don't know what you're talking about. She was scared. She was shaken, but she didn't go to the police. She didn't report a threatening encounter. Instead, she did something far more revealing. She called her son. This is the moment that changed everything, showing Donna's immediate reaction and her decision to call Charlie instead of law enforcement.
Black towards, what is it? Yeah. Okay, bye.
Excuse me, Mrs. Adelson? How you doing? Just want to give you this. Listen. You're scared. No, don't be scared. Listen, I just want to let you know that we know that your family has been taking care of Katie and her friend Luca for quite some time after your problem up north has been resolved. And I want to let you know that my brother, he's incarcerated. He helped your family with this problem you guys had up north. And we want to make sure that he's going through some rough times. And we want to make sure that you take care of what he's going through, the way you're taking care of Katie and Tuca. Well, this will explain it. Thank you.
Pause it, please. Does the defendant remain under surveillance for some time after this?
She does.
Okay, we see her take the paper from the undercover and fold it and put it into her purse. Does she ever take it out and look at it before she gets back into her building?
Not that we ever saw, no.
And does she make any phone calls once she goes back into her building?
When she goes back into her building, she does.
And who is the first person that the defendant calls after the bump?
Charlie Adelson.
Right, is that call A?
It is.
Okay, publish call A, please.
Hey, hon. Tonight after work or some other time in the very near future, I need to speak with you.
Okay.
Okay.
Did someone write a letter to you or something?
I've got some paperwork hand delivered to me.
You're being sued?
No, that's what I thought it was, but I'm going to need to talk to you.
Okay.
Okay, so, I mean, I can be, I don't know how to figure out something. Depends how late you'll be, wherever you are.
Well, I'm in Mitch Klein's office on Oakland Park Boulevard.
Okay.
So I'm right now in Thailand, Chile, and I'll be at his office in the afternoon.
Okay. So the boys who finished their piano lesson around 4-ish, and I've got the traffic over there, and they take a ride with them up there.
Does Dad know about this?
The dad's at work today, fortunately.
What's, is it IRS?
You know, those IRS people, they're kind of bother sometimes, but, you know, fortunately not known.
Okay.
So I will talk to you. I'll give you a heads up if I'm going to drive up that way. Okay? And,
Is Wendy down there? Is it involved Wendy?
No. So let me just talk to you later, and
what is it? Is that his health okay?
Yeah.
Does it involve me or other people?
Well, probably both of us.
What's that?
Probably the two of us. So you probably have a general idea what I'm talking about. So let's just find some time to talk to each other and take the boys for a ride, okay?
You're going to take the boys up there?
Well, maybe they can come home. Maybe we can get here till about 7 when Dad gets here.
So it's harder to talk to me today.
Or tomorrow, and it's important.
All right. Well, I'll be up at Mitch Klein's office. You want to come up? Oh yeah. Oh really?
I'm just concerned that I just have to get up there and get back in time for Lindsay to get them. Sometimes she gets out a little early every month because it's coming out here.
Can I ask you a question? Whose paperwork sent from?
I see that, that's great. I was something that came hand to hand to me. I exited the building today.
Was it anonymous or?
No, oh no, it's not anonymous. It's not anonymous. I just don't want to discuss it on the phone.
Right, whatever it is. It's silly, but if you want,
I wouldn't bother you, trust me.
yeah. Do you want me to come down to see you tomorrow after the day off?
Yes, that would be wonderful. Dad actually works later tomorrow. You know, he goes in at 1 o'clock. We both work out at the gym from 9:30 to 10:30. So
whatever it is, I'll take a look at the paperwork.
Yeah.
I hope it's not the IRS, but
I just would like you to review it and give me some input as to what your thoughts are. Okay? So come down tomorrow. Dad leaves at 12, so anytime after 12 would be good.
12 tomorrow.
Yeah, he leaves at 12. He starts at 1 there, so 12, 12:15.
I'll come down after that. I think I'll do it and see if it's good.
That would be great.
Perfect. All right. I'll talk to you later.
Let you come by.
Would you describe the defendant's demeanor on this call as really calm?
Yes,
She says Dad's at work, fortunately.
she does.
Does she indicate that she's in fear on the call?
No, she does not.
She was handed a piece of paper that had an article about the murder of Dan Markel, right?
Correct.
That's what the interaction was about.
That's correct. That's what he handed her and made reference to it.
And when Charlie asked the defendant what it's about, what does she say?
She says to both of us,
Probably both of us. Probably the two of us.
and then the two of us. Said it twice.
Does she say the name Dan Markel in this call?
No, she does not.
Does she say the name Dan Markel anywhere on this wire?
No, not that I recall.
Did she report this incident to the police?
No, she did not.
Now, this is the moment that changed everything. The FBI had set the trap, and Donna walked right into it. Watch what happens next. The first call Donna made after the bump was to Charlie. Not to her husband Harvey. Not to the police. To Charlie. And here's what makes this call so damning. Donna tells Charlie they need to meet in person. She says someone hand-delivered some paperwork to her. Charlie asks if it involves him or other people. Donna replies, probably both of us, probably the two of us, so you probably have a general idea what I'm talking about. Think about that exchange. The undercover agent never mentioned Charlie's name. He never said anything specific. But Donna immediately knew this was about Charlie. She immediately knew they both had something to hide. Prosecutors would later call this a confession. And they were right. What followed was a flurry of panic phone calls, all captured on FBI wiretaps. Charlie called Catherine Magbanua. Magbanua called Sigfrido Garcia. Donna and Charlie discussed meeting with the supposed gang member. They talked about whether to pay him off or whether this might be law enforcement setting a trap. In one recorded call, Charlie laments to Magbanua, "Don't come to my parents like my parents are old." He's not worried about Donna's safety. He's worried about exposure. The next day, Charlie and Magbanua met at the Dolce Vita restaurant in Miami. The FBI recorded the entire conversation. Charlie is clearly rattled. He wonders aloud whether the man who approached his mother is a blackmailer or a police officer. He says, "How do you get people to talk? You throw a smoke grenade, and then you get all the cockroaches to run out." Charlie even makes a chilling calculation. He says, if they had any evidence, we would have already gone to the airport. He's confident that if law enforcement really knew what happened, they'd already be in custody. He's wrong. Eventually, Donna herself calls the undercover agent. She's desperate. She insists, "I know it isn't me. I can't take this kind of stress." But her plea falls flat. The agent knows she's lying. And soon, so will a jury. The bump operation worked exactly as intended. It forced the conspirators to communicate, and those communications gave investigators everything they needed. In 2016, Sigfrido Garcia and Luis Rivera were arrested and charged with first-degree murder. Rivera took a plea deal and agreed to cooperate, receiving a 19-year sentence. Garcia went to trial and was convicted, sentenced to life in prison. In 2019, Catherine Magbanua stood trial. The jury deadlocked 10-2 for conviction. She was retried in 2022 and found guilty, sentenced to life in prison. She initially denied any involvement, but after her conviction, she changed her story and became a state witness, testifying against the Adelsons. But the biggest fish were still swimming free. Charlie Adelson wasn't arrested until April 2022, 6 years after the bump. Prosecutors finally had enhanced audio from the Dolce Vita restaurant meeting, clarified through new technology that revealed incriminating statements linking him directly to the plot. Charlie went to trial in November 2023. He took the stand and stuck to his extortion story. The jury deliberated and came back with guilty verdicts on all counts: first-degree murder, conspiracy, and solicitation. He was sentenced to life in prison plus 30 years for the other charges. And then, just days after Charlie's conviction, the walls closed in on Donna. This recorded jail call reveals Donna's desperation and her plans to flee, showing consciousness of guilt.
Witness stand. Please raise your right hand as best as you can. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth? Yes. You may take the seat. Please speak loudly and clearly. You may examine Mr. Zellman when you're ready. Thank you, Your Honor.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you please state your name for the record and make sure you speak in the microphone?
Yes, Donna Adelson.
Now, I want to direct your attention, we heard the call earlier. The call on November 7th of 2023 at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and for the record, that was call number 561. Do you remember where you worked?
Yes, I was in my apartment, in my living room.
Do you remember who was present when you got the call?
Yes, my husband, Harvey, and friends of mine, my attorney, Susan Brotman, and her husband, Richard Shavin.
You said your attorney, what kind of law does Ms. Brotman practice? Or did she?
She does estate planning.
Was Ms. Brotman present at your apartment for the purposes of providing you with legal counsel?
Yes, she was.
And do you remember receiving the call from Charlie?
Yes, of course.
And where was Charlie at the time?
So he was in a room by himself. It was after the conviction.
Was he in the jail?
He was in jail.
Okay. What did you do when you saw that Charlie was calling?
Answered the phone.
And you heard the recording that we played earlier?
Yes.
And you agreed for your call with your son to be recorded, correct?
Yes.
As the call was happening, do you know at what point Charlie was no longer on the call?
No, only when because I was talking, and then all of a sudden I asked him something, and I said, "Charlie, do you hear me, Charlie?" And I said it a few times, and he didn't respond anymore, and I knew the call was over.
Now, in the course, during the time that your son was incarcerated in Leon County Jail, did that happen more than, was that a frequent occurrence?
Yeah, it happens. It happens a lot, unfortunately.
Okay. And would there be times when you didn't realize at first that he was no longer on the call?
Yes.
Where in your apartment were you when this happened?
So I was in my living room.
And you heard your voice on that first call number 562, when you repeated, Charlie, Charlie, are you there?
Right.
Did you believe the call had ended?
Yes.
And what would, in times prior to this, what would happen after that? What would you do when that would happen?
If he didn't respond anymore, that was it. The call was over.
And what would you do with your phone?
I'd hang up.
Now, same thing with the call on November 8th of 2023, the one at 6:38 in the morning. Do you know at what point your son was no longer on the phone?
I don't. I don't remember the...
In either one of those situations, or in both of those situations, did you believe the call was over?
Yeah, the call was over. He was gone.
And you went about your business?
Yes.
Now, with respect to the November 7th, 2023 phone call when your attorney, her husband, and your husband were present at your apartment, did you agree for your attorney-client conversation to be recorded?
No.
Did you agree for your conversation with your husband to be recorded?
No, of course not.
Now, the following day, did you agree for your subsequent conversation with your husband to be recorded?
No.
Heard the recording. To consent to this call, press 1. Or recording of this call, press 1. Correct?
Correct.
You hung up the phone after those calls were over.
Thought I did.
Just a moment, Your Honor. Nothing further at this time, Your Honor.
Cross-examination.
Good morning.
So there in the room with you during this call was, you said your one of your attorneys, Susan Brotman, your husband, and then also Susan Brotman's husband.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And he was not your attorney?
He was not.
Your attorney?
No, he's not an attorney.
Okay. You were informed at the beginning of that call, this is the one on November 7th that recorded you while they were all in the room. You were informed that you were being recorded if you accepted that call?
Yes.
Okay. And that if you do not want to be on that recorded call, that you needed to hang up the call. Is that right?
Are you saying, does the recording say...
Right. If you do not want to accept that recorded call, you should hang up.
If you do not... Yeah, no, I accepted the recorded call.
Okay. And you typically do hang up your calls, you said, after
I think
your calls with Charlie Adelson when he was in custody. All right, but this particular call that day, evidently you did not properly hang up, right?
Evidently.
Okay. And have you ever forgotten to press the button on a call before?
It may have happened. I don't know.
Sure. Has your phone pocket dialed people before?
Has it what?
Pocket dialed people before? When you've been out of custody.
Pocket dialed?
Right.
I don't know what you mean.
Like if your phone is in your pocket or in your purse and it accidentally calls someone you didn't mean it to?
I mean, that could have happened, sure.
Okay. And you also could have not pressed the button on your cell phone to end a call before, right?
It's possible.
Okay. It's not quite as big of a deal as it used to be when you would actually have to like hang up the phone. Right. Okay. That's all. Thank you.
Redirect examination.
Briefly, Your Honor. The consent that you gave for the call to be recorded, when did that end?
It ended when Charlie hung up, or when whatever stopped the call. I mean, I don't know how it stopped, but it stopped. When the call was over with Charlie, it was over.
Nothing further.
You may step down.
On November 13th, 2023, FBI Special Agent Patrick Sanford received a tip that made his blood run cold. Donna and Harvey Adelson had booked a one-way flight to Vietnam, a country with no extradition treaty with the United States. The flight was departing from Miami International Airport in just hours. Vietnam. One way. No return ticket. For a 73-year-old woman whose son had just been convicted of murder. The implications were staggering. The FBI scrambled. They obtained an arrest warrant and rushed to the airport. Donna and Harvey were already through security, walking down the jet bridge to board the plane. Officers intercepted them at the last possible moment. Donna was arrested right there on the jet bridge, her suitcase packed, her future plans destroyed. When officers tried to take Donna's phone, she resisted. She pulled away, saying no. Another officer had to grab her arm and hold it. It was on that phone that Donna was so desperate to protect. Investigators would soon find out. Later, prosecutors revealed a recorded jail call between Donna and Charlie from the day after his conviction. Donna thought the call had ended when Charlie was suddenly disconnected, but she had only put the phone down, not hung it up. What the FBI captured next was stunning. Donna could be heard talking about extradition from Vietnam. She mentioned that they had looked at all the places. She was openly discussing fleeing the country, trying to figure out where she could go that wouldn't send her back to face justice. In that same recording, Donna read aloud text messages from her daughter Wendy. Wendy had written, "I know you are upset by the verdict, but the anger directed at me is not justified. I am not guilty because I did not do anything wrong and I was not involved in any way with Dan's death. Please do not text me about this case anymore." Donna lamented, "I have one son that I don't speak with. I have one son whose hopes seem dead, and my daughter, whom I love, is doing this?" The family was fracturing. The carefully constructed facade was crumbling, and Donna Adelson's desperation was laid bare for the world to hear. Donna Adelson's trial began in August 2025, more than 11 years after Dan Markel's murder. She faced charges of first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and solicitation to commit murder. If convicted, she would spend the rest of her life in prison. The trial lasted just over 2 weeks and featured testimony from an extraordinary cast of witnesses. Wendy Adelson took the stand, testifying against her own mother under a grant of immunity. She described Donna as someone who micromanaged her life, who operated with what Wendy called emotional subterfuge, who pushed and pushed for the children to be relocated to South Florida. When prosecutors asked Wendy directly if she was involved in the plot to kill Dan, she stated firmly, "I was not involved in any plot to kill Danny." When asked what information she had about her mother's involvement, Wendy replied, "I don't have any information." But Wendy also testified that she hadn't spoken to Donna since November 2023, right around the time Donna was arrested. The estrangement was complete. Robert Adelson, Donna's oldest son who was estranged from the family, also testified. He spoke about Donna's need for control, her fixed ideas for what she wanted for her children, and her inability to let go. He testified that after Dan Markel's murder, no one in the family showed any curiosity about who killed him. It was taboo to even discuss it. That silence, Robert suggested, was itself a kind of admission. The trial also featured Jeffrey Lacasse, Wendy's ex-boyfriend, who dropped a bombshell. He testified that Wendy once told him in confidence, "Last summer, my brother looked into all options to take care of the Dan Markel problem, including hiring a hitman." Lacasse said he was taken aback because Wendy appeared deadly serious. This statement, made before Dan's murder, suggested the conspiracy wasn't just talk. It was a real plan, and when he knew about it. Catherine Magbanua testified about the payments she received from Donna. Luis Rivera testified about his cooperation with investigators. And most importantly, the jury heard the wiretap calls. Donna's own words, captured in moments of panic, played back for the courtroom to hear. The defense tried to argue that there was no direct evidence linking Donna to the murder plot. They pointed fingers at Charlie, at Catherine, even at Wendy. They suggested Donna was just a loving mother caught up in her son's mess. But the jury saw through it. One juror, Evan Higginbotham, later spoke publicly about the deliberations. He said they methodically went through each count, reviewing all the evidence. The bump operation, Robert Adelson's testimony, and the phone records all pointed to one conclusion. After just over 3 hours of deliberation, the verdict was clear. Guilty on all counts. When the guilty verdict was read, Donna exclaimed, "Oh my God." She burst into sobs. The judge removed the jury from the courtroom and warned Donna that there would be no further outbursts. But the damage was done. The matriarch of the Adelson family had been exposed as the mastermind of a murder-for-hire plot. Donna's claims show her continued attempts to portray herself as a victim even as the evidence against her was overwhelming.
Okay. And then she named a package that she wanted. And she's out. She was gone. She just that fast. That fast.
Okay. How bad would you, on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad would you rate the pain at the time that she did that to you?
Oh my God, it was a 10.
Okay.
I didn't know my arm could reach that far back.
Okay. And what did you do after she did that to you?
So, kind of stood there for a minute, and then I just thought, okay, I'm gonna go back to my bunk. I went back to my bunk, I got under the covers, and I cried. I just stayed under my covers. I didn't come out.
Okay. Where were you at, first of all, when that took place?
In October. So I was in the bathroom. It's 10:30 at night. I went in to brush my teeth.
Okay.
There are three sink stations in the bathroom. Each one has 4 sinks. And I was at the center station with my back to the door, and I'm a righty, so I was holding right hand, and I was balancing myself with my left hand on the sink. I was just brushing my teeth. That's all I was doing.
And what happened?
And my left hand away from the sink, and twisted my arm, and jerked it behind my back, with my neck.
Okay.
And
did it hurt?
Yeah, it hurt.
Okay. What happened?
It hurt. And I said, "What are you doing?" And she's, in the same breath that she did that with my arm, she said, "You're going to buy me commissary." I said, "I'm going to what?" And she said, "Those pretty white teeth knocked out of your mouth, you're going to buy me commissary." 9 or 10, somewhere in the morning.
Okay, and when she told you that she didn't have any sick call forms for you to request a Band-Aid and you would need to get it from the night nurse, approximately what time does the night nurse come?
So the night nurse comes anywhere from 11:30 to 2:30 in the morning.
11:30 p.m. to what time?
2:30 a.m.
to 2:30 a.m.
Right.
And in the meantime, you were supposed to use the feminine pads?
I called my husband. He told me to elevate my arm, to wash it.
On October 13th, 2025, Donna Adelson stood before the court for sentencing. Shackled and dressed in a blue jail jumpsuit, she addressed the courtroom for the first time. Even now, facing life in prison, Donna maintained her story. But listen to how she frames it. She began by expressing sorrow for Dan's death. She called him a fine and decent man, a good son-in-law, a caring and loving father. She said her heart was broken when Danny died. But then her statement took a turn. Donna attacked the trial itself. She questioned the evidence. She claimed the state couldn't decide who the real mastermind was. She said, "They claimed that I, this grandma, was the mastermind behind this murder. Where is the evidence? Where is the proof? She proclaimed her innocence passionately. I swear to you on my life, I was not involved in any way in Danny's murder. I was not. She said she had never even gotten a parking ticket. She insisted she was being sent to prison for a crime she didn't commit. Harvey's statement shows the family's continued denial and their belief that Donna was wrongfully convicted.
Thank you, Judge, and respected officers of the court for allowing me to speak. I have been Donna Adelson's husband for over 50 years. My wife sacrificed everything so that she could pour her heart and soul into our children, our grandchildren, and our marriage. This summer was our 54th wedding anniversary, and I had to spend it without her, hand in mind. She has done nothing wrong, and yet is being punished for a crime that she did not commit. I thought we lived in a different kind of world, but I guess I was wrong. I have listened, watched, and sat in the courtroom for the entire trial, and I could not help but scream in my mind by the witnesses that were brought forward by the prosecution who told outright lies. I didn't know that you could lie in a courtroom, but apparently you can. Danny's parents contend that they have never seen their grandchild. But for years they say they've never seen her. But Wendy has shared with me pictures and videos and letters from their visits. They have suffered immensely at the loss of their son, but they also contend to tell lies to the court about our grandchildren. Donna has always been a loving and caring wife and is innocent of the charges. A biased judge and jury were influenced by years of one-sided news pieces and
Before
social
you continue,
media.
Dr. Ms. Fulford, this has nothing to do with the character of the defendant or relates to sentencing.
May I just 1 moment, please?
Go ahead.
Oh, all right, thank you for letting me continue. Donna did not participate in the heinous acts that she was convicted of doing. You are sending an innocent woman to prison. You have taken my wife and you have taken my life as well. And for what? This is not justice. It is vengeance, and it is wrong.
You have an examination for Dr. Adelson.
No, Your Honor. No, Judge.
Any other witness statements that you wish?
But during her custody battle, Donna had also made claims that painted a different picture. She spoke about being mistreated while in custody, about being denied medical care, about being assaulted. Each claim designed to elicit sympathy, to shift the narrative away from her guilt. Donna's husband, Harvey Adelson, also spoke, and his words revealed how deep the denial ran in this family. He told the judge that Donna had done nothing wrong and was being punished for a crime she didn't commit. He accused the judge and jury of being biased, influenced by outside forces. He said, "This is not justice. This is vengeance, and it is wrong. You're sending an innocent person to prison. You have taken my wife and my life as well." The judge was unmoved. He interrupted Donna multiple times during her statement, warning her that she was showing an utter lack of remorse. He told her, "You certainly can choose to deny your involvement and maintain innocence." The court finds the evidence in this case is clear. Donna's final proclamation of innocence, even in the face of overwhelming evidence, reveals her inability to accept responsibility for her actions.
What happened to Danny is unforgivable, but I am an innocent woman convicted of this terrible crime without evidence. Danny was a brilliant legal scholar. He would have been appalled at the total lack of justice that went on during my trial. He would have been embarrassed to have his name associated with any of it. There are two crimes here. The first was Danny being viciously murdered. The second one is taking my life, the life of an innocent woman, Convicting me should not be retribution for Danny's death. That is not justice for Dan. I've always respected the law. I've never gotten a parking ticket, but I'm going to prison for a murder I did not commit. I do intend to file an appeal so that hopefully I have the opportunity to be given a fair trial outside of Tallahassee. 11 years ago, Danny was murdered and taken from all of us who loved him. For the past 9.5 years, the state has broadcast to the world, including Danny's parents and sister, that I hired hitmen to kill him. Never in a million years would I have wanted Danny to be harmed or killed, nor could I ever do something that would leave these two small boys to grow up without him. I love these boys more than life itself. This is a lifetime of loss for these children. They didn't deserve this. His family didn't deserve this. Danny didn't deserve this. And so, as I appear before you today, Your Honor, I promise you with my whole heart, I swear to you on my life, I was not involved in any way with Danny's murder. I was not.
Gents have any further argument to make?
Donna's sentencing statement reveals her continued defiance and refusal to show remorse, sealing her fate in the eyes of the court and the public.
She can remain at council table.
Thank you. I'm going to move the microphone.
Okay. Is this loud enough, Judge?
I can hear you.
Thank you for letting me speak. My son-in-law, Dan Markel, was a fine and decent man. He was well educated and passionate about his career. He was a good son-in-law, but more importantly, he was a caring and loving father. On July 18th, 2014, his car was followed, leaving his home. It should have been just like any other day, an ordinary day in the life of Ben and Lincoln's father, but it wasn't. He didn't know when he left his boys off at daycare that would be the last time he would see them, and the last time they would see him. He didn't know when he went to the gym afterwards that would be the last time he would exercise. And he didn't know when he drove home that his life would end within minutes. Danny wasn't just being followed, he was being hunted. He was brutally murdered in broad daylight, sitting in his car, in his garage, by vicious killers. I cannot imagine the terror he felt when he saw a gun pointed at him through the window of his car. I cannot conceive of his heroic efforts to stay alive during the hours after the attack. Danny died in the early morning hours of July 19th. His death is a loss to his children, his parents, his sister, all of us in his family, his friends, his colleagues in the legal community, and to his students at FSU Law School. Danny's boys each have a photo of themselves with their Abba, their dad, beside their beds. They grew up kissing the framed photo and saying, "Good night, Abba, I love you." The pictures and memories are all they have because cruel, cold-hearted people took him from all of us who loved him. My heart was broken when Danny died. My grandsons were going to grow up without the father who loved them. I wondered, how could we help these boys through this trauma? It was then that my husband and I knew that the best way to honor Danny's memory would be to share with these children an abundance of love, the love that Danny would have given them if he were alive. It is interesting how the state can't make up its mind about who is what they call the, quote, mastermind behind this murder. In both of Catherine McManus' trials, the state claimed she was the mastermind behind Danny's murder. In my son Charlie Adelson's trial, they claimed he was the mastermind. And now in my trial, they claimed that I, this grandma, was the mastermind behind the murder. I had no idea that other people planned to cut Danny's life short. And the people who did this are exactly where they deserve to be. But I had no knowledge that this horrible, evil act was going to take place. If I had become aware of this plan before Danny was murdered, I would have stopped it. With not one iota of actual evidence, the state convinced a Tallahassee jury that I solicited and conspired with other people to have Danny killed. Where is the evidence prior to the murder? The evidence beyond a reasonable doubt that the state needed to prove their case. Where is the evidence before July 18th, 2014 at 10:50 in the morning?
Before you continue, Mrs. Adelson, as it relates to this statement, is the defense trying to re-argue the trial?
No, Judge, just giving Mrs. Adelson an opportunity to be heard.
Mrs. Adelson, you certainly can continue. However, the court can take into consideration the utter lack of remorse that you are displaying. Please proceed if you desire to do so.
Where is the evidence before July 18th, 2014 at 10:50 a.m. that revealed that I had any involvement in this vile and horrific act? Where is the solicitation and conspiracy evidence? The state needed to show that there was evidence before the murder to convict me. The state couldn't show that because there wasn't any evidence. They were trying an innocent person. It makes you wonder if the jurors were sleeping when the state had Sergeant Corbett on the stand for hours. Their own star witness testified that my phone was never, I repeat, never at my son's house on the night of the murder. The state's theory that my husband and I dropped off money to my son was blown out of the water by their own witness. And yet, the state continued to push that story, that lie of the so-called money drop, to the jury through the remainder of the trial. And the jury bought into it, hook, line, and sinker. Reasonable doubt. Many months ago, my attorneys filed a motion for a change of venue. An expert witness testified that Tallahassee had been barraged with over 9 years of negative social media, printed news, television news, and podcast publicity about my family. He explained to the court, both with evidence and demonstratives, that for me to receive a fair trial, it needed to be held in any of the researched and designated areas in the state of Florida other than Tallahassee. All I wanted was a level playing field, but the court wanted the trial here, in the hotbed of Tallahassee. I sat through 3 days of jury selection. 180 potential jurors were asked if they had developed an opinion in my case. Those that answered yes also added, I believe she is guilty. Not one person, not one, said, I think she may be innocent. That should have been a clue to the court to grant our motion for a change of venue, but the court denied the motion. One of my jurors admitted during jury selection that she had background information concerning what one of the state's witnesses would be testifying about. Why was she allowed to be on my jury?
What moment?
Another juror.
Mrs. Fulford,
Oh, I didn't hear you.
Mr. Zellman, again, this has nothing to do with elocution of any sort. This is a raising of grievances, which are properly given to the appellate court. What does any of this have to do with sentencing?
Just one moment, please.
Even at the very end, facing the consequences of her actions, Donna continued to proclaim her innocence. Watch as she makes one final plea to the court. The sentence was mandatory. Life in prison without the possibility of parole for the murder charge, plus an additional 30 years for conspiracy and solicitation, to be served consecutively. Donna Adelson would spend the rest of her life behind bars. Dan Markel's parents, Ruth and Phil, were given the opportunity to make victim impact statements. Ruth spoke of her profound sadness and grief after her son's death. Phil referenced the fate of his surviving grandchildren, the two boys who had lost their father and would now grow up knowing their grandmother orchestrated his killing. In the Jewish custom, Phil said, "We have an expression to always wish others to live to 120 years of age. For Donna, I wish her to live to 120 alone in her jail cell. I wish that every day of her remaining days, She thinks about the harm she has caused to so many, especially those 2 boys she claims to have loved so much. And then came Donna's final statement to the court. Her last words as a free woman. The culmination of over a decade of lies, manipulation, and denial. Donna Adelson was transferred to state prison the very next morning. She became the 5th person convicted and sentenced in a murder-for-hire plot that took Dan Markel's life. Garcia, Rivera, Magbanua, Charlie, and now Donna. All behind bars. All facing the consequences of a conspiracy born out of a custody battle that should have been resolved in a courtroom, not with bullets. But the story doesn't end there. Wendy Adelson has not been charged with any crime, though her name has come up repeatedly throughout the trials. State Attorney Jack Campbell told the media, "We will continue to work and make sure that every person who is responsible, we can hold them accountable." Now, I can't predict where that will lead us right now, but I can guarantee you that we're not stopping looking at the evidence. The question that haunts this case is not just who pulled the trigger. We know that. The question is, how deep does the conspiracy go? How many people knew? How many people stayed silent? How many people turned a blind eye because they were family? Donna Adelson wanted control. She wanted her daughter and grandchildren close. She wanted to shape their lives the way she had always shaped the lives of her children. And when Dan Markel stood in her way, she didn't accept defeat. She didn't compromise. She didn't let go. Instead, she orchestrated his murder. She used her son, her money, and her position to eliminate the one person who wouldn't bend to her will. And in doing so, she destroyed not just Dan Markel's life, but the lives of everyone she claimed to love. This case asks us to confront an uncomfortable truth about human nature. Love can become obsession. Devotion can become control. And family, the thing we're taught is sacred, can become the most dangerous force in our lives. Donna Adelson's story is not just about a murder. It's about what happens when someone believes they are above the law, above consequences, above accountability. It's about what happens when a family's silence allows evil to flourish. And it's about the price 2 young boys will pay for the rest of their lives because their grandmother couldn't accept that she didn't always get what she wanted. Dan Markel dedicated his life to the law, to justice, to teaching the next generation about fairness and accountability. He believed in the power of the legal system to make things right. And in the end, that system did make things right. It took over a decade. It took an FBI sting operation, wiretaps, cooperating witnesses, and 5 separate trials. But justice was served. Donna Adelson will spend the rest of her days in prison, just as her son, Charlie, will. The hitmen who carried out her orders are behind bars. And the world now knows the truth about what happened on that summer day in 2014. If this story has shown you anything, it's that the truth always finds a way. It may take years. It may require extraordinary effort. But eventually, the lies unravel, the silence breaks, and the guilty are held accountable. Thank you for watching Dark Trail Files. If this story has moved you, if it's made you think about justice, family, and the lengths people will go to for control, then leave a comment below. Share your thoughts. And most importantly, subscribe so you don't miss our next investigation. Because we're not done asking questions. We're not done seeking truth. And we're not done shining light into the darkest corners. Until next time, stay curious, stay vigilant, and never stop questioning. This is Dark Trail Files.